Good morning, and this is Morning Real. If I see it, I review it. Hosted by yours truly, Ray Salazar. It's a 3 to 4 to 100-minute or so podcast of films that I review of all ages, of all countries, black or white, technicolor, infrared, you name it, I review it. I've been wanting to review this film for a while, but I feel December is the best time to review it because this film is a Christmas film. At least to me it is. And not only that, a lot of key scenes happening during Christmas time in the film. This is not your regular 9 to 5 film about a man trying to make it and stay on top. This is about scumbags. And people love scumbags, man. But it's crazy how Scorsese has that power to actually make us feel for these, honestly, some piece of shit people. Really. Everybody. Even the wife. Anyways, I'm happy to review this film called GoodFellas. Co-written and directed by Martin Scorsese. If you don't know who that guy is, then you definitely got to do some homework because this guy's an OG, one of the best directors of all time, probably in our lifetime, really. And I'm very happy that I'm getting to talk about this film with two good friends of mine who are also co-hosts of the We Don't Smoke the Same podcast. I have E-Zone and XG. What's up, guys?
What up? What up, Ray?
How are y'all doing today?
Goodfellas hoodie on.
Yeah, I see that. You're in the spirit.
I'm in the spirit, dog. It's funny because I didn't see it as a Christmas spirit movie, but now that you say it and now that I just watched it yesterday, it's gonna become a Christmas movie for me.
I never looked at it as a Christmas movie, but there are a lot of key points in there where there's like Christmas trees going around, the celebration. So maybe that's the reason you have like a certain view on them. You know, you kind of feel for them.
Yes.
Because you're like, oh, it's the holidays, you know.
I want to run through the credits real quick. Directed by Martin Scorsese, screenplay by Nicholas Pileggi and Martin Scorsese, based on the book called Wise Guy by Nicholas Pileggi, produced by Irwin Winkler, starring Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, Lorraine Bracco, and Paul Sorvino. All GOATs. At this point in time, all GOATs. Cinematography by Michael Ballhaus, edited by the legendary Thelma Schoonmaker. Production companies, Warner Brothers and Irwin Winkler Productions. This film came out in September 9th, 1990, and it's over 2 hours long. It's a long film, man, but it's crazy how like Scorsese likes to take his time with his characters, with the situations and all that stuff. He really wants us to see how this character really grows. And in this film, what's great about this film, man? I don't know if you guys like ever like put it, but what comes up must come down. And that's exactly what happened to all these characters in this film. Everybody got fucking screwed. We're given the notion, is Henry Hill a rat? Or was he trying to save his ass because he knew he was going to get whacked? What do you guys think about that?
I think that he was put in a position like kind of
he fucked up, by the way.
He did fuck up, but he was kind of put in a position where he saw that they turned his back on him. Remember when he went to him and he was like, all for a lifetime of loyalty was $3,000.
That was sad.
He was
a
like,
lot of sad moments in that film.
Okay,
really.
He was like, I got to turn my back on you now. You know.
But he warned him though. He like looked at him dead in his eye and said, "Hey, don't be fucking with that shit. Don't be making me look like a fool and all that crap. We don't fuck with that shit." And there he goes, fucking with it, getting addicted to coke, making his own little schemes, trying to put other people into that play, and behind that fool's back. Wouldn't you think like, what the fuck? Really? I gave you all this freedom? Really? All this freedom? All this like, just like rank. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not even blood. Imagine that. That's a slap to the face.
But it's a lot more money than when you think, because this was the 50s or 70s when the movie was based.
70s, 80s, you know?
Yeah, it was a lot of money. It's not 3,000. We look at 3,000 now, and you snitch your homie for $3,000. You're like, fool, come on. But I'm pretty sure that amount of money back in that day, I don't chingo.
Oh yeah, all that shit that they were doing, all those like schemes and heists, lot of money, man.
Yeah, we look
especially
at it like
for
that.
a small time crew.
It must have been easy to pull up those kind of crimes, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you look at it, you're like, all right, we gotta stick up a truck.
All right.
Yeah, you just block it.
There's no camera outside the grocery store.
You block the truck.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Now you're like, oh, there's a camera at the grocery store. There's a camera in front of Albertsons. Like you can't.
The
do
truck
it now.
has a camera.
Yeah, back then he was like, let's go, let's run it.
Easier.
Tener huevos. Back then era tener huevos, and what lo que tienen esos güeyes, tenían huevos.
Yeah.
All of them had balls.
And
dog.
then everything changed when they got the helicopters on Henry. You're like, what the hell? Surveillance? Oh shit! He's never been surveilled like that, ever.
When they got busted, that was like very sad. I couldn't help but feel sad for everybody.
When the cop like licked the coke.
Yeah, when he tells me, he was like, "What kind of cake were you baking?"
They're baking the cake over here.
Yeah, that was. And the thing that pissed me off about it too is that stupid babysitter bitch.
Yeah, dude, with the hat.
Yeah, dude, he's like, if out of all the moments of him being a mobster, that he should have shot her.
I don't know about that.
Like he should have just been like, "You bitch, you're gonna fucking get me caught and all this stuff." Nah, man. And then he's like, he had to drive the guns, and he didn't want the guns. It was towards the end. It was just a lot. You could see the desperation in him.
Yeah, I mean,
The hospital scene was another thing. He was like, "Let me check you out."
with the shit.
Yeah, with the doctor, he was
Yeah.
like, "No, I'm serious. Let me check you out. Come on," and because he had been coked out, and not that I've ever been that coked out, bro, but like I've been to the point where I'm like, man, if a doctor saw me right now, I'd be in bad shape.
Yeah, he would know, right?
Yeah, like off a bender.
That fool was on a sick ass bender, man.
I like how when he was young, he was like looking at the mobsters like, I want to be them.
Yeah, that was his goal from day one, man.
What do you say? He'd rather be a mobster than the president.
Yeah, something like that.
Something
Yeah.
like that. That's dude. Have you met anyone like that?
Nah.
George Perez.
George president like that. But I remember being a kid, and I asked. It was my homie's brother, and I was like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I was like, "I want to be a gangster." That's what he would say, dog. Like literally look you in the
wild.
face and say, "I want to be a gangster." I'm like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "I just want to be a gangster." Fool's locked up. He's a gangster. But I thought he was kidding. I thought it was gonna be a phase because he like guitar. Nah, when like that, like when they say that's what I want to be.
But they're a different type of gangster though.
Oh,
like
yeah.
when you see the film, especially like in the first act and all that stuff, seeing how everybody's rising up and like just in their business, it's a community really. It's a family. It is a family of sorts. You know, you got all these guys who they all have each other's backs in a sense. You know, and Henry Hill didn't really have that in his family. Like his dad was like always working but never feeling appreciated. The wife's always at home. His brother's in the wheelchair. You know, it's kind of fucked up. You know, and they live in a very small place. And when he saw that and he got a taste of it, I want more.
Have you ever read the book?
Wise guy, nah.
Well,
You?
Nah, I think made me watching it. This made me kind of want to read the book.
I mean,
It's
there's
based
some
off a book.
Yeah.
This one
100%,
is.
yeah.
There's a lot of inconsistencies in the film as far as like reality and shit. I'm not even gonna bother talking about that because there's really no point. It's about the film and how it came out and all that stuff, man. And I mean, you guys seen a couple of Scorsese films, man. Like this one pretty much stands out in his career. I don't know about y'all,
I can't-
especially Robert De Niro, man. He was
Yeah, I can't help but to appreciate whoever does clothing.
the wardrobe.
The wardrobe for these films, man. Like that wardrobe, like the eyewear, the just the clothing, vintage, the designer at that time. That was some top tier shit that they needed for that film, and the suits in general. Those
Yeah,
were
the suits.
$1,000 suits, bro. They're not cheap.
It's still a low budget film though, right? In general.
I don't think
budget
it was low
film.
budget, dog. I think
This
that's
film had a budget of $25 million.
filming in Vegas is not cheap.
Is that normal price? I wouldn't even know what that even means.
Even in that time, it's still a lot of money to make.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, because you're paying off, like,
They were already big. Those actors were already pretty top notch.
with the exception of Robert De Niro and
Nope.
Joe Pesci, not everybody, really. They're like the.
This movie made a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did, man. I
Yeah.
mean, you got Lorraine Bracco, who plays the therapist in The Sopranos. You actually have a couple of the people from The Sopranos in that film.
Yeah, I know,
if you
yeah.
can, like, really see that. It's cool Easter egg shit.
Didn't they say that he drafted a lot of people from those films, like the creator of The Sopranos?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he said, because you can't help a lot. Like Scorsese did a lot of the hard work for some of these guys that have gone on to cast these type of individuals, because he gave them the first exposure for a lot of that movie.
Yeah.
I mean for that movie, and they got it from that movie, and they went on to be known. Yes, it's like a certain role you get typecasted into, but It works on so many levels because it's always gonna be a gangster Italian movie.
Yeah.
And not that that's what all these people want to play, but that's what made them legendary for a lot of them.
I like how this film stands out from the rest of other like gangster type related films because the drugs really, like the way Scorsese showed drug use in that film. It's
Real.
You don't see. I mean, I've seen Godfather. You don't really see shit like that. It's very like low key. This one's like in your face, high key. I don't give a f.
Yeah.
You put it out there, man. And the actors in this film really put themselves on the line, you know, like you really believe who they are. You kind of think like, fuck, man, like that is Jimmy Conway, that is Henry Hill, that is Karen Hill, and all that shit, you know. I dig it, man. To me, it's almost a perfect film.
Think it's the most gangster film.
That's hard to say.
I mean, to me, it's
pretty up there.
Up there, dog.
It's pretty up there.
It's pretty gangster ass film.
I mean, how many other gangster films do you see them fucking sell GoodFellas merch at Shoe Palace?
Scarface.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
that is-
like
yeah,
that is
That's another. That's what I'm saying.
That's
There's
an
a couple good gangster ass films.
that's an iconic.
Yeah.
Those are iconic gangster films. But after that, it's not too many.
Like Blood In Blood Out. Like, I'm not.
They don't have a merch drop.
And even then, like to me, that's just more prison,
Yeah.
which is cool, but it's
Prison
not,
culture.
It's not gangster. Like gangster is.
It's pretty gangster. It's East LA gangster.
It's East LA gangster. It's prison. Yeah. But the reason I see it like that is because I'm gonna be a gangster. I'm gonna be that type of gangster. Not gonna be a fucking.
A cholo?
Not gonna be no cholo.
That's
be a
organized crime.
Yeah. This is more about organized crime. You have any favorite scenes?
Not my favorite scene, but I think when his dad hits him,
Oh yeah, okay. Do tell.
it just fucking, it just shows.
He fucked him up pretty bad.
fucked him up bad, bro. And I think that just made him hard.
Yeah.
That it ruined him. Like if he would have went up in a different type of handling it, he might have gotten what he wanted. But instead, he made him more of a fucking gangster. And then he went to go quit his job.
The thing about it is that like I think his dad, not literally, but like
He resented him.
he beat the innocence out of him. Like, you know, like after that day, he was just a whole new person. Really, he's like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm gonna become what I want to be, and whatever comes with it.
That's what I said. If he would have handled it, that dad would have handled it a different way. Maybe his son would have become a gangster that he became.
Yeah, maybe. But I think it still wouldn't matter though because it's like
He wanted it.
he just wanted it, dude, from the get.
He saw like the fools putting in work and just looking all fly like across the street, fool.
And they're just like
So
sitting
you're
down,
seeing that
hanging
shit
out.
every day. You're seeing that shit every day, nonstop. You're like, man, what the fuck? And you see your dad go do whatever he's gonna do.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I want to fucking be one of these guys. Look at that, they're fucking dope. And at that point,
No one's getting locked up.
and
really,
yeah,
right?
and at that point, nobody's killing each other out there in the open like how it is now, bro. So it's like, it's almost like a glorified fucking way to be a gangster.
Very glorified, and I really dig that. Scorsese knows these guys are pieces of shit. Let's glorify them a little bit, and then let's see their true colors. And we see the true colors, and yet somehow we still humanize them. It's crazy. These people they're fucked up, but like it's crazy how they're still human, right? They're still joking around. Like remember that scene in where fucking Joe Pesci, right?
Yeah.
He shoots that fucking dude. He shoots him dead.
Yeah.
And like still going about his day and all that stuff.
his head in a vice.
That was in Casino.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Similar. But like when he shoots him down, he's dead, and you're like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you? He's like, whatever, dude.
Where they go get,
Like that.
or when they go get the body from where they're gonna build apartment complexes or whatever, and
Give
then
me a wing.
and then they go to dinner, and then they go to dinner right after.
Yeah.
Like to them, it's just like you just unburied a body, dog. Like
And
how
Henry's
would-
like
Yeah,
freaking
Henry's
the
throwing
fuck
up,
out.
and that fool, he was like, I got a leg. Like he's fucking.
Yeah, these guys like they seen it all, done it all, and they're like, this ain't shit to me, bro. It's crazy. And then you kind of see that Henry's like, oh shit, I don't know if I can like, even at that point, you still think like, fuck, am I really in this shit? But like, you know, the money's in the way and all that stuff, the things that come with money and all that. You know, it's kind of like an overshadow type of thing. But once the money's gone, you're like, oh shit, what the fuck do I do now?
The soundtrack too was on point. I fuck with the soundtrack a
Beautiful
lot.
soundtrack.
Yeah, it is probably one of my favorite things about that film.
I think my favorite scene and my favorite shot, really, and everybody would agree it's like one of the greatest shots of all time, is when he takes Karen to the restaurant for the first time, them two, but they go through the back, and it's all one shot, bro. Going through the back, going through the kitchen area, and it still keeps going. to where they meet the other guys there, and they got a table for him and a lamp right in front of the stage with front of the comedian.
Yeah.
Pretty good comic too. I don't know if you've noticed the comedian playing the part and all that stuff. And it's crazy because what makes it so good is the fact that everything looks so fucking natural. It doesn't look staged, even though it is staged. It's staged to the T. I don't know if you noticed, like, once they start walking into the actual kitchen area, you notice that there's an argument going down with one of the chefs and shit about
Is
a
that
cake or whatever.
is that the same scene where he's like, that was Jimmy 2 times?
Yeah.
Okay, that was the scene. That's what I was gonna say in my scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you
I better
handle
get the
that?
papers. Get the papers.
Get the
So,
papers.
right, like, how do you handle that as a director? Like, obviously,
Rehearsal.
yeah. But you tell people like you're gonna be arguing about this no matter what.
Yeah, fool.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been to a set to be honest with you. So
I always
just
wanted
looks
to
so
be. I always
alive.
wanted to be an extra, but it's so shitty, bro. That he just
The waiting.
the waiting and shit. I'm just like, I'll get kicked out for like, well, I'm waiting.
I'm waiting. Yeah, no, because you're right. Everything's. Yeah.
This is 1492. I don't know about you smoking the joint.
Yeah, like I'm like, marijuana's been around, cocksucker.
Reading the CX.
No, just saying how you're right. Like, yeah, it looked very natural because of everybody's doing their part.
A lot of that film looked pretty natural to me, man. Like, how would you depict? How would you critique how high Henry was on coke? Was it on point?
Yeah, he looked
Was it a
pretty
little
cooked
too
out.
much,
He looked
maybe?
he looked like George Perez. Back in
And
the
we're
day.
talking
But-
pure coke back in the day,
Yeah.
right?
There's that scene where he's just like where that scene where he's like, come on, we gotta go to the hospital, and he has that fucking bag, the purse full of coke.
Oh yeah, the purse.
Should we wait after or no? And then he has that purse full of coke, and then he just scoops it out. Cause remember when I was rolling around with like an ounce, and just like for personally, that's how I felt. Fool. There was times where I'm like, well, gotta go here, and I'll fucking just stick a straw in the whole thing, and fool, I would get stuffed, and I would just be on a sick ass one, and I start sweating. I'll go
Then
throw
you go
up
throw up.
sometimes, but like that's how you felt, and like when I see, cause they captured the sweat in his face. They captured the look on the skin. Because, yeah, you have really bad skin when you're on coke. You know what I mean? Like, it dries you out. So, yeah, bro, like, that shit is fucking crazy to me. Like, where he's like, I'm like, fuck, man, that depicts... There's no other reality. It's not glamorized. Like, it's not like in Scarface where it just seemed like it gave you, like, a shot of masculinity every time he did a line. Like, Scarface kind of glorifies it in that way. This shit, the way they directed it, it shows you the realness of it. Like, it shows you, yeah, the good time. Like, yeah, fucking doing coke, kicking it, and you know, with bitches and having them do all that shit. But yeah, bro, it's also a bad side to it. And also, too, back to my favorite scene, the bar scene. What do you mean on funny?
Yeah.
That to me is probably one of my favorite things because it's just like
Everybody's quiet.
I'm that homie that like I can be Joe Pesci in certain moments where it's just like, hey, fool, it was just a joke, and it's like, no, he said what he said. You know what I mean? Like, say it again. What did you mean? Like, but it's like, I mean, I try not to be that person, but I have been that person before.
What's crazy?
Not in that context, but where I'm like, I should have just let that shit go. It's so stupid.
What's crazy is when that fool just whips out the gun.
Oh yeah.
And like it's crazy because like I mean if you're a gangster or whatever or a fellow gangster, you whip out their gun, whatever, dude. It's like nothing. But like when you're looking at it from the perspective of a bystander or whatever, that shit's fucking crazy. He's just whipping the gun out and they're
Yeah,
dude.
I always wanted to like the carelessness, bro, of that shit. It made you want to fucking do that, bro. Like just randomly shoot up at the air and celebrate. I always wanted to do that shit since I saw the guy from The Simpsons do it. Then when I saw Joe Pesci do it, I was like, fuck
I
yeah.
mean, you've never done it. I've done it.
Oh, random in the desert? I've done it, yeah.
My dad's ranch. She's like,
Yeah. It is fun as fuck, though, yeah.
It's fun as fuck. And when you're like, my dad's like, pero allá.
Yeah.
Todos bajan, cabrón. So don't go straight up. Go like that.
Yeah, man, that's fucked up.
People die like that.
Yeah, they do.
People have died like that. It's crazy. Imagine you're just chilling on New Year, celebrando y pinche putazo y te matan in front of your family, dog.
Now
It's happened.
the biggest question: would they have found it? Would the cops, would the feds have caught the coke? Would they have found the coke? You know how she was like, I flushed it down the toilet. What are you talking about? And all that crap. They would have never found it. Come on, where they put it at, fool? They would have found that
You
shit.
flush it.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
It wasn't. It was only in the cabinet, right?
That's what I saw.
And for how rich they are,
He could have had a stash spot.
They got money. I mean, it's not worth the time that you're gonna do for how much that's
He
worth.
should have had a stash spot like how Joe Pesci had for the stolen goods in Casino.
Yeah.
We're like, to this day, I'm like, I just want to fucking take something from that
Okay,
stash.
so I mean, this has nothing to do with it, but do you think there's been raids where they didn't find what they went to go find? You think some people have some stashes where like the cops se la pelaron?
I'm pretty sure there are, yeah. Many cases, I'm sure.
It'd be tight to come back to your house and be
And
like,
we pay for that those
man.
raids, man.
Huh?
We pay for those raids.
Yeah, and I want them to fucking get what they went in for.
Yeah, I know.
And when they don't, imagine coming back and you're like to your house and like they didn't get it. You know how you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, get to do more.
Even though your whole house is destroyed, your couches are fucking torn up.
Get that stash, man. Yeah, I think it was Henry Hill's like his own like, you know how they say, don't fucking like do the drugs that you're like supplying or whatever. Don't get high on your supply.
There you go, 10 crack commandments.
And that's what he did. And honestly, if he wasn't doing coke or maybe as much coke, that rape still probably would have happened, but he probably would have had that fucking coke stashed somewhere or whatever, And to think like you would hide it in your own home, I would go somewhere else and fucking stash that shit. I don't know, man.
Females.
Yeah, that phone call
Females.
pretty much kind of cemented the whole deal, right? With the chick and all that stuff. Yeah, man. I love the film. Good film. Pretty good ending. I like the way it ends, especially with the courtroom scene, and then like you have Ray Liotta looking at the camera, telling us like it was great, but now it's over. Pointing out the
How much time did they end up doing?
a lot of
time.
a lot of time, man.
The first prison scene was pretty epic, though.
Well, it looked like a little safe house,
Yeah.
right? Crazy.
Used to stink up a storm in there.
Would you rather be like if you could parentheses a mobster like a gangster like that or un narquillo?
I think it's the same thing, right?
That's how I see it. To me, it's like
It's the
kind of like
same
this
thing.
narquillo, like same thing, little narquillo.
Nah, but
shit.
honestly, I don't see. Well, as we all know, right? Narcos, they don't give a fuck. They'll fucking chop your head off, send it as a message. These guys, they don't really do shit like that, man.
No, I'm talking narquillo back in the day, like my dad. Narquillos, like
I wouldn't know. I
like
wouldn't
narquillo,
know.
Like little they weren't killing each other back. I mean, they were, but they weren't chopping heads off in the 90s.
That's some new
The
shit.
Los Tigres del Norte type of narquillo. Like
Oh,
that's what I'm
okay.
talking about. Like el perique. Yeah, they weren't doing crystal heroin. Crystal was barely coming by.
Yeah, man. Fuck that, all that shit. Well, gentlemen, I thank you for joining me on this podcast for GoodFellas. I want to do Casino next. If you guys are down, I'm sure
Yeah,
Xavier
let's
would
do
love
it.
to do
Fuck
Casino.
I'm down.
Yeah, man. Follow me on Morning Shot Films, IG and YouTube, morningshotfilms.co. Guys, you have any shout outs?
Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for Ray, and you guys already know we don't smoke the same.
Salute to everybody who listens to the podcast. Salute to Ray. Follow me at Flavors by Ezone with 2 S's. Highhungry.shop for all the merch. And check out We Don't Smoke the Same.
Check out We Don't Smoke the Same. The next film, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do, but it'll be, another
Doubtfire.
banger. Maybe Mrs. Doubtfire. I actually do want to review that one. That one's a pretty good fucking film, man. So if you haven't seen GoodFellas, check it out. It's on Max, or just fucking rent it on fucking YouTube or whatever. It's worth the watch. Don't get high on your own supply. Treat your women right. Treat yourself better. Thank you.